So recently I made a level called Rob Top is Number 1. It's probably my best GD level I've ever made, and it took 22 hours to make over a period of 4 days. So today I just kind of want to show like how I made the level. And this will be my final video before I leave to another country, so yeah, that's gonna be pretty fun. So the layout took me 5 hours to make, and the reason why it took me 5 hours to make is probably because of all of the effects I used. I'm gonna go into 0.5 times speed to show you this. I start with a lens circle and then a quick zoom in. I mostly use back in and back out movements for the camera because it kind of has the vibe of the song that I used, which is the We Are Number One remix. I feel like the song is very goofy and the level was kind of meant to be goofy from the very beginning. Basically, I just wanted like repetitive gameplay and recognizable gameplay in the first part. And then we have a small interlude section here, and then the camera pops out, and then we have these mini spikes. Now, originally, I was planning to make it like a Super Mario Bros. Like castle theme, if that makes any sense. More specifically, the one minigame in I think Mario Party 9 where like you use the Wiimote to move left and right. I hope I can find a footage of that. And then we have these shaders, the edit color shader, which made it red, and also the motion blur. This is much more like noticeable. This was much more like harsher than the final version. I ended up like reducing the effect much more after. And I went from cube to robot, and I made sure the gameplay wasn't like too complicated. This, I accidentally found this type of gameplay and I thought, you know what? It's not even that bad. It actually kind of like, it's a bit fun and it fits the goofy vibe, so I went for it. And then we have a small quiet section with the same like spikes. In the decorated version, I decided to make like singular those types of spikes and made them hanging from the air. But originally they were all together. I'm not sure why, but I think I just like, at the time I just needed to fill up space. This didn't move. I actually added that last minute because it synced with the song and I thought it looked good. And I don't regret doing that. Actually, I don't regret it at all. These spikes actually originally moved with this area move trigger, as you can see. Let me put a start pause and I'll show you. As you can see, that's how they move. But I decided instead, in the decorated version, I made like singular spike pillars that move downwards instead of an area move trigger, because I thought the area move trigger looked a bit too weird and also a bit like choppy because some of the decorations were like not connected with the block. We also have this part. There's not much to say here. It's the same part. Still has the same really harsh effects. The thing is, originally the camera was like way to the right, and that's my fault because my computer screen is like wide and it showed the perspective a little bit different. But I ended up fixing it in an update much later. This part is very similar. There isn't really anything wrong with it from what I know, and this obviously didn't move as well, but I ended up making it move in the decorated version. And there was originally a grayscale thing that made it turn gray when like the song went like dark, or not dark, quiet, and then the song went, "What are you doing?" And then we have this part. Now, I actually nerfed this in the decorated version because you could die very easily with this click. This is mostly the same, and I think I actually moved this down in the decorated version. And from what I know, I think this part is very similar with the same exact effects. The effects used to be much harsher, and I don't know if I have a video clip of it, but they used to be harsh. But I ended up fixing it just to make it more sight readable. This part hasn't really changed that much, I think, except for here. I moved this down, and then I added an extra slab here just so like the transition into the spider was more like consistent. And then the final thing that was changed is this, the ending. I'm pretty sure I removed the mini spike in that and made this easier because, yeah, you could also easily die here. And that's it for the layout version. Ignore that name and also ignore this. This is the main decorated level. That took 17 hours to decorate. So originally the level was actually mostly pink and black. But then when I added the yellow pulsing like blocks, which kind of made it look like doggy, you know, the doggy icons, I was like, whoa, that's actually kind of sick. And so as you can see, we have these, I don't know what you call them. They're like strings. They're made from, where is it? Yeah, this chain object, and then this object, like really stretched and thinned out. And they also have like a subtle bit of glow, and they all are rotating. You'll see, yeah, each individual one is rotating, and it is on a spawn loop, which makes each one rotate left and right. These saw blades were made from, where is it? Let me copy and paste and show you what I did. We have two glow pieces. We have a dark black half opacity glow, and then this, which is color 6, which is the pulsing one, which pulses pink. We also have this shrinking kind of effect here going on with the cloud textures, but not the fully opaque, just this one, which is like the half-assed one. And then we have 3 different layers of these kind of saw blades. This one, which is 6 but very dark. This one, which is 6 but normal. This one, which is just black. And each one of them has a custom rotation, and they increase by 5 every single time. This block is very simple to make. We have the glow pieces, like I mentioned, the half opacity and the color 6. We have a glow piece on the brick block that is inside, which gives it a nice shine. We have a black layer on the bottom, and then on top we have like a permanent pink. And I made the move with an area move trigger that I don't know where I put. This might be it. Yeah, this is the movement. This is the movement that has those blocks on layer 3. Yeah, those ones. This is very simple blocks that has a slight shadow that is at 75 opacity. We also have these stretched stars, and I made like darker versions of it behind to make it look kind of 3D with a really basic arrow. And this is where I have like a guide trigger so I can put the hey. Hey. And then this is the background, which is made with 2 different types of particles. We have this particle, which I spammed everywhere. It has these kind of values. You can use these values and make like your own kind of thing, but this is what I did. This is like speed lines, kind of. Yeah, they have color 6, and they're a bit more saturated and also more bright. And then this also has color 6, but they're much more darker, and they're like random shapes. Like this is a star, and then I believe there's a circle, and then a square, and yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. And that's what makes the first part. Then we have this part with these invisible slopes that I put because I thought they looked kind of nice. And they also have an area fade trigger. Yeah, group 77. I believe it's this one. Nope, the arrows are on, yeah, this is 77. This is what I use. The arrows are on its own separate one. We have these triggers which stop some of the loops in like the background and like the blocks, and everything fades off in the left. And then we have the slabs, and I added like a lens circle here. I think originally I deleted the pixelate trigger, but I added them back because I thought it looked kind of neat. And then we have this part, which is very simple. We have these 1 brick block, and then we have the normal brick blocks here with a vine. We have these vine objects, which are made from these like grass blocks, and I'm proud of them. They look kind of nice, actually. We have these arrows which fade in and also move with the area move, and also an area fade, which is up there. We have 3 layers for the background, we have layer 1, layer 2. There's supposed to be 3 layers. Yeah, here's the 3rd layer. They all move at different time speeds. We also have these saw blades, which are very simple to make. We have the normal saw here, and then I put another saw on top of it, and I also added a little bit of glow to make it a little bit glowy, to make it a little neat. We also have these spike borders, which, I mean, they're not the most like unique thing, but I'm proud of them. And also we have here where they pulse to black. Now what happens is this background fades off, and then we have another background that fades in. We have 2 spinny circles. This one moves clockwise, and then this one moves anti-clockwise. And I also added these I don't know what you call them, saw designs. I mean, you can get them from the saw blade section, and you can decorate them, which is what I did. I added them to the orbs, and then I added these like half or quarter circle ones to the portals. And then I added this what do you call this black fade screen, and it moves a lot while the lens circle becomes a bit smaller. And then we have this part, which is very simple. We have the 1 block chain objects, like I mentioned previously. It's made from rock objects, and also you can see that I added like these you can see them in the block section. I think where are they? Yeah, these ones. You can find them very easily. I kind of added them here just to like texture the block a little bit, and not to make it like a bit flat. And I also added these chains. So what I did is I made this, and then I flipped it, moved it into position, and then I copy pasted it up like this. And all of them have a center circle that they rotate around. You can see the movements up there as well. And then this is the one that moves up and then down to sync with the song, and also like the sound effect of collecting the coin. And if you're wondering why this is so low, it's because these blocks have an area move trigger up here, which makes them move down half a block before I get to it. You can see that they move down before I get to them. And then we have the next part, which yeah, there's a few things. We have these glow thingies, which they have an area fade trigger. This is very simple design. What I did, hello, please, can I not hold? Okay, anyways, this was a stretched version. This block. I don't want the exact, yeah, this one. This was a stretched version that I squeezed, and I added it on top of the brick to make a unique looking brick. And then I have this, which has black and then gray in the middle, and I added a slight blending, a gray blending on the circles to make them look a bit glowy, because it's a night themed haunted mansion sort of like theme. I added these spikes, these mini spikes on the edges of the blocks to add like a little bit of like naturalness, if that doesn't make sense. Basically, I kind of wanted to make it look like the spikes were growing out of the rocks, but I didn't want to spam them, so I didn't add it to every single rock, but I added it to some of them. We have these brick objects, which I put, and they have an area tint. Right here, they actually brighten up as soon as I get to them. We have these rock objects which act as saws, and they have an area move trigger. And this is very simple rock design from this section. I kind of like arranged them to make it like good or noticeable at the very least. And these one spike, whatever you call them, I used this object. And I didn't want to decorate the spikes too much. I don't want to make the part too complicated, because already the camera's moving everywhere, left, right, up, down, so I just made them like normal spikes. And for the slopes, I decided to add the brick blocks, but I made them brighter, and it looks good. I think it looks pretty good. Let me turn off the shader really quickly. The background is split into 2 layers. We have this layer without the window and then this layer with the window. And how I did the window effect was really simple. I kind of just scaled up this like stretch mark. Yeah, it was this one, this block specifically. And I added a low opacity version that goes the other way just to add like a ooh reflection kind of thing. We have the same fading black thing and the same decoration. And I almost forgot to mention that there's these chains in the background. We have 3 different layers of chains. We have this one, which is on the background, but low opacity. This one, which is golden, but very dark. And obviously, we have these chains that are in front. And then we get to this part, which is very chaotic. We have the slopes. Yeah, they are slopes. They're not spikes. I simply flipped them around and made them really thin. We also have the pulsing loop of the color 31, which is what this is, and also color 32 copies 31 but makes it 180 degrees, which is what gives like for example technical colors and whatever this is. These arrows have an area move which moves them really quickly, and then we have the really basic block design. I made it really simple because I mean, there was already a lot going on in the decoration itself. I didn't want to add anything much to it. So what I did was I put basic blocks and I also added these jagged lines from this tab. And I made the spikes the complete opposite color just to not like get anyone confused with the like objects or like enemies and sort of that. Saw blades, some of them are white, some of them are black. I kind of like interchange them a little bit. And then this part pulses red with also a gray gradient that spins around a lot. And up here, this is really important. I have this really strange particle like effect that I made. It kind of like sizes up and down, and it scales heavily to create like a sort of shaky effect, which is what gets us to this. These are the Hungry Humphrey eyes that I decided to like minimalize. You can see they are much less detailed than the actual Hungry Humphrey level. And I made a loop so that the eyes close and open with the alpha trigger loop. And I also added this glow beam which goes around the rainbow. And then in the background we have this abomination which goes around the colors. If I select one, you can see that 39 copies 40 and 40 copies 39. This is like a life hack if you don't want to make like, if you don't want to waste so many color triggers on like to make a rainbow. You can have 2 color triggers copy each other with hue 1 and then maximize the saturation, and you can create a rainbow like that. And I also use that to make these, I call them Tic Tac pills. What they really are, they're really like gradient blocks, which I found here, and I stretched them. I flipped them and then I stretched them. Well, that's the wrong way. Yeah, that's the right way. I made some of them like the normal rainbow, and then I have this one which is like 180 and I think 90, or yeah, this is 60, and then they go around the rainbow. And this has an area rotate, an area scale, an area tint, and an area move, I believe, which might be excessive, but I decided on it. And then whenever we have the part where the split screen happens, we have a gradient that goes around the rainbow and it spins around. This is probably one of my favorite part of the level if you don't include like the beginning. And then there's also the next part which I really like as well. We have this like line, and this one moves clockwise, this one moves anti-clockwise, and they're actually made of really thinned up monsters. Yeah, you can see they're really thin monster objects. I wanted to create like texture, so that's what I did here. And these you can see, like, you're wondering why aren't they doing anything. Well, this is because they are area tinted as well. These tint yellow when we get to them, almost like a flashlight. Along with this is supposed to be like a light bulb, as you can see, and they tint up. This goes from black blending, which is normally invisible, to a bright yellow blending like that. And they also have an area move. We also have this simple background, which I believe is area faded. But why am I... No, hey. This block design is really simple. Like, what I did was I made it so that we have like a base checkerboard black, and then a blending glow, and then a basic white, not a basic white, a basic yellow. It creates like a glow behind it, and all of the spikes have the same glow effect to it, along with these slopes. And there's also saws, which does the same thing. And I believe there are also a bunch of saws on no touch that create like a weird glow sort of effect around it. And then we have the final part, which I made extremely simple, just like to dramatize it, I guess. This moves to the left, and then we have Rhea number 1, Rhea number 1, and this was nerfed obviously, as you saw from the layout version. This what is normally gray, but I decided to reuse it and make it red, and every time the background pulses, it turns black. The background is black, the blocks turn red, and then every time like the thing pulses, they swap roles. And then we have a very quick like lens circle before the final jump, and then the level ends. 30,000 objects, 17 hours. Now I am glad that the level got sent by like sync and all that. I'm actually very happy.
I have already sent this. Wait, have I not? No, I low-key have already sent this. I played this earlier, Dinid.
I don't expect it to get rated. I highly doubt it. When I got my first rated level, 10 levels of death, I got extremely lucky. I only had one send in my level and it got rated, like a few days after. But I doubt the same thing will happen again with RobTop's number 1. I can't get lucky twice in a row. Unless like something wild happens. RobTop happens to look at demon sends and he sees this and he's like, oh yeah. I doubt it. However, I have hope that this level could get rated, but who knows what will happen. I'm not gonna set my standards up too high. Let's see what happens.